Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm the young homesteader, and one thing I like to say is that dreams won't work unless you do. So let's get started. Today I'm going to be dry canning sugar! My family has been dry canning for quite a while now in order to preserve foods purchased on sales, which saves money and time. In this episode, we're going to explore two different methods of dry canning. One uses an electric food saver, and the other is a hand pump method, using what is known as a brake bleeder. Yes, this is for a car, however, it is perfectly clean and purchased specifically for the dry canning process. Before we get started today, I would like to mention that sugar is not the only thing you can dry can. Previously, we have preserved chocolate chips, pancake or waffle mix, tea bags, many types of pasta, hot chocolate mix, and Oreos, along with flour, beans, potato flakes, and white rice. And because I know someone's going to ask, yes, you can dry can coffee, both regular and instant. Now, this method of preserving will last up to 25 years, keeping your products nice and fresh all that time, making one smooth cup of coffee, if there is such a thing. For whichever method you use, there will be certain items required. The first is a jar, which should be washed in hot, soapy water, and then dried thoroughly. You will also need flats, rings, a marker, and your food saver sealers, which come in wide mouths and regular. Then you will of course need to decide your sealing method, whether it's the electric food saver or the hand pumped brake bleeder. The first method I'm going to work with today is using the electric plug-in food saver. This is my machine, which I got at a local auction. However, you can get them at Walmart, online, Goodwill, and my personal favorite, yard sales. I happen to have a VAC 360 food saver, which has a porthole for your vacuum hose. It must have this porthole in order to be used for a vacuum sealing. Now, not everyone's machine is the same, so not everyone's will have a porthole. But if you're planning on purchasing one for this specific purpose, make sure it has the porthole to plug your jar sealer hose into. So the first thing you need to do is prepare your vacuum for use. In order to do this, you have to plug one end of your hose into that little porthole I mentioned earlier. Then take the other end of your hose and plug it into your food saver jar sealer. Now, since I'm using a half-gallon jar with a wide mouth, I will be using the wide mouth jar sealer. Once you have your vacuum ready, it's time to fill your jar. As you can see, I've already completed this step, but I want to remind you to fill only to the bottom rung, leaving yourself with at least a 1-inch headspace. Now, sometimes I will use an oxygen absorber. Today I'm not going to. However, I did use it in my cookies, so they'll stay nice and fresh for many, many years. Or at least as long as I can hide them from my dad. He is very good at finding them, however. Now, one tip I learned was when you fill your jar, pounce it so you get a nice, even fill. Another tip is to put it on a pot holder or a different type of surface to protect your jar and your table or whatever you're using underneath. The next step of the dry canning process is to clean the rim of your jar with some vinegar using a paper towel. You just want to rub it lightly, and there you go. Then place your flat on top of your jar. Now you're ready to begin with your vacuuming. First, take your jar sealer and fit it over the flat of your jar. Just like that. Then on my machine, press in the two side buttons. Then press and hold down on the power button. A loud noise will occur. Can you hear it? by a green light when finished. Once your vacuuming is done, you remove your jar sealer and check the seal itself. If you push on the center and, yep, no pinging, and your flat is tight, you have a good seal. Now all that's left is for you to screw on your ring. Just make it finger tight. Gotta get it on straight. There we go. Then take your handy dandy marker and write the date. I usually only put the month and the year. There we go. And you have just dry canned a bit of sugar. So for the second method we're going to cover today, which is the hand pumping method, you want to follow the exact same steps you already have, which is washing and drying your jar, then filling it with the desired product. Now remember, once it's filled, you need to wash the rim of your jar with your vinegar and your paper towel. Next, put your flat in place, and then begin to hook up your sealer. Now, unlike the electronic sealer, this does not have a tight fit, so don't try to force it to stay. Another thing is, you're going to have to hold it while you pump. So, hook it on your jar, and pump, 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 pump. You're really going to get a workout on this version. Keep pumping until your little arrow decides to stop. So I've been pumping for a while now, and I heard a little ping, so I want to see if you can hear the air being released as I disconnect it. Did you hear that? Let's check our seal. No more pings, a tight flat, and it's perfectly sealed. Screw on your ring and date your jar. And there you have it, another jar of sugar. So, I thought you might like to know that the 25-pound bag of sugar that I had gave me 7 half-gallon jars and a small jelly jar full of sugar to put in my family's pantry. And this can now be stored up for the next 25 years. Now, on a lighter note, who noticed I had Frosty the Snowman on my shirt today? This is a shirt I love wearing in the winter for 2 reasons. 1, because I love Frosty the Snowman. And 2, it drives my twin brother absolutely nuts. Although, that could have something to do with when we were little, and I sing that song all year round. Rather loudly, I might add. So, let me know who likes Frosty down below, and also do me a favor and like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it.